Welcome to Mental Wellness Insights. Today we have Pastor Dennis. We're going to speak about suicide. Suicide is a topic that not many people want to speak about. It's a topic that has not been dealt in so much. But the number of people committing suicide is increasing by day, and therefore it's a very, very important topic to deal with and to educate the populace about. Even as we want to start, I want to appreciate Pastor Rick Warren for having come out loudly to speak about his son's suicide.
Kay and I are standing on the driveway, hugging each other, sobbing, just sobbing. And Kay reaches down and she's wearing a necklace that has two words that are the words of the title of the book she'd just written, Choose Joy. And I look at her and I say, how do you choose joy when your heart is breaking in a million pieces? How do you choose joy? The police came, broke the door down, found the inevitable bad news. They're carrying my son out in a body bag.
Actually, this is what drove me to think seriously and to have this discussion today. Welcome, Pastor Dennis. Can you introduce yourself?
Thank you. My name is Pastor Dennis Maduguda, and I'm a preacher, a teacher, a counselor, and an author. Thank you.
Thank you very much for agreeing to do this.
All right.
Do this with us. The first thing that we would want to know is really what is suicide.
Okay.
Yeah, we cannot assume everybody knows what suicide is.
It's true because sometimes we throw terminologies and we assume that everybody knows what the subject is all about.
Yeah.
And as you said, the whole thing about suicide, it's becoming a problem in our society. Mm-hmm. And in a very simple term, suicide is simply taking of one's own life. Suicide is simply, if we use a very basic language, somebody killing themselves.
Yeah.
Somebody taking their own life.
Somebody killing themselves, mm-hmm. Somebody taking their own life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm tempted to ask about life itself.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody taking their life. The first question is, what would drive somebody to take their life?
Many times when you find that somebody has taken their own life, the first reaction would be to get angry. Why did you kill yourself? And you know, when you have statistics on television or online, that maybe like in the US, they say that the 11th cause of death in the US is actually suicide. And when numbers are on the screen, they just look like numbers until you have somebody close to you who has either committed suicide or attempted suicide. That's when the thing becomes very personal. So in our series on suicide, we don't just want to handle this as an academic subject. I would want us to be very personal. I want us to be very compassionate as we are talking on the subject of suicide. Because believe you me, in the journey of life, almost 70% of the people at one point they would think of this thing called suicide. They may never attempt suicide, but 70% of the people At one point they feel tired with life. They feel disappointed and that life does not seem to have meaning. At some point in the journey of life, very many people feel that life is tasteless. So they would feel better dead than alive.
And if I hadn't had a small group, I don't know that I'd still be in ministry right now. My son, my youngest son, Matthew, struggled with mental illness his entire life. He was born as a child. We could see he was clinically depressed as a child. And I remember when he was 17 years old, he came to me in tears. He loved the Lord. He had a tender heart, a tortured mind. Tender heart, tortured mind. He led people to Christ.
So even as we discuss this subject of suicide, we are not coming to judge. We are not taking the angle of condemning the person who attempted suicide, or even the person who is in the valley where everything is slippery, disappointed, they are in a dark place. This series is solution-oriented. It is meant to find a solution to the problem of suicide. It is meant to help the person who is having suicidal thoughts. It is also meant to help that family that maybe have lost a loved one to suicide to add some little meaning to what happened. So even throughout this series, as we look at the causes of suicide, I would want us to take that angle, that we are not bashing, we are not attacking that person who has contemplated suicide, but rather would want to find a solution to this crisis.
Thank you for mentioning this is going to be a series of discussion on different topics on suicide. And yes, as you said, our point is to give information to the public. And it is an issue that is clearly affecting the public. Information has to be given out there, but we are not taking the point of judging, because where I stand, I do not know what would trigger me. Maybe at one point to feel like I want to commit suicide. What we want to do is just to explore and give the information.
Very true.
What are these issues that can drive someone to say, enough is enough, I do not want to live anymore, I just have to, I'm better off dead?
That is good. And maybe if you just heard a little bit, let me share with you how bad this thing is.
Okay.
Because one time I am preaching somewhere, and a gentleman dressed in a nice suit comes to me after the sermon and he says, I have something for you. And I was excited. I thought probably it is a gift. So we sat down and he said, thank you. The word you spoke saved my life. So I said, good. So he dipped into his pocket and gave me a piece of paper. And when I looked at it, it was a suicide note. And he told me, I have been carrying this suicide note. This is the 4th day. And I was looking for an easier way to die because I'm just tired.
Yeah. And that just reminds me of a case. I also have a case. May have mentioned to you, there's a lady who I was talking to at one point in a counseling session. And at the end of the session, she told me, you know what, in this phone, I have only 800 Kenyan shillings. And from here, I was going to go to the shop, to the shop, buy poison, kill myself, and kill my 2 children.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is that somebody could going to work. And the person I met, he was finishing the session we had and he was going to work. He's dressed, he's in the office, meeting people, but in the pocket, he has a suicide note.
And therefore, we cannot take anything or anyone for granted.
No.
We could be seeing somebody in a suit, very well dressed, and on the outside, while we discuss with him, he is laughing and all. But inside of him, there's something burning. And we could just be a help to this person, you know, to save him from imminent death, imminent suicide.
Very true.
And as we go along, we will then look at what would
drive this person,
or
what would drive me,
yes, to get to know that.
Now look at this.
Yeah.
This guy says, I'm just tired. And many times when you happen to meet a person who is going down the road of suicide, that will keep on coming. I am tired, I'm tired. Not physically exhausted, but emotionally drained. Before a person dies physically, they have died on the inside. They are emotionally dry and dead. That what dies finally is the body, but the person on the inside is dried, dead. So when you meet somebody who is suicidal, that's why sometimes you don't seem to make sense when you explain so many things to them, because on the inside they are sort of dead. But now look at it. The reason as to why this man was contemplating suicide, he had a broken marriage. The wife had left with the kids and they took off with the properties in the house. He came home and he found the house swept clean and with a note on the table that you can go on with your life. We can manage our own. The madam and the two kids had taken off. And the man told me, I paid to take my wife to a diploma course. I paid to take my wife to a degree course. I was part of getting her a job. And after her getting a job, making some money, and now she became whatever she became, and the person decided to take off like that. So he is in bitterness, in regret. Why did I spend money on this person? Why have I put in my very best and I'm getting the very worst out of this? So often when you meet somebody who will be thinking about suicide, somebody will be telling you, I'm just tired. I'm just tired. That statement will keep on coming. And it's one of the red flags in the series as we progress. When you hear somebody telling you, I'm just tired, I'm just tired, that person should not be ignored, because there could be something deeper that needs to be examined, and the person can be helped before they go down.
Yeah.
That is one case. I was watching the news yesterday, and it was recorded that a police officer went home and killed his children and killed himself.
Yeah. And
you'll be wondering, I thought the officers should be the one taking care of people and property. And this a person, he's in uniform, he has a gun, and he turns the gun on himself. The other time also, a man of God, a preacher, known to very many people, Pastor Tim Wang, shared a message, a testimony in his sermon. And he was talking of last year when he was in America, in Dallas. They were out for a gospel outreach, but he was going through a personal struggle, a personal battle, which he also attributed to a demonic attack, as the way he would put it. And he could not sleep. And he says he went, a preacher like me, bought drugs and wanted to end his life. And amazingly, he's on a gospel trip. He even has a senior preacher, a senior pastor with him, but had not shared with him whatever he was going through. And it was only by God's intervention. A driver who came back had a conversation with him, and he picked some little glimmer of hope, and he survived it.
And therefore we are noting that we should not take things for granted. I could be having a conversation with you, and you or me, I'm on the verge of breaking down. But that sixth sense, to get to know that even though we are talking, I'm not there. I'm talking to you on the outside, but I am not there.
Yes.
It takes a sixth sense to know it. And then I'm also noting that we should not dismiss people.
Yes.
If there's somebody who would want to have a conversation with you, give them time.
Yes.
Irrespective of who, whether high or low in the, give people time. Because it could just be somebody who I've just met.
Yes.
And in his circles, he has not found anybody to listen to. So you are the one chosen to save this life. Give people time.
Yes.
Listen to people. Yes.
And you see, like this person you meet, and they just begin to talk to you. They may be crying for help.
Yeah.
And you can discern that this person, something is wrong. As you said, please talk to them. Listen to them. Because often some of these people, they may not open up to the very immediate relatives or family.
Yeah.
But you may find them at work, they are just in an outburst. Life is so unfair. You know, why is life like this? That person may not even be sharing that information with their families. But when they come to work, they flare up in anger and they're talking things. Calm them down, talk to them. You may as well be saving a life. You know? And so one of the things you realize, people saying, I'm tired. Another one will be regret. When people feel that they should have done something and they never did it. People out of regret. In the Bible, we have the disciple, Judas Iscariot. Judas would commit suicide because of regret. Guilt. You know, I should have done better. I should have not done this. Judas, I believe from a pastoral perspective, Judas was just having a money problem. And he knew how powerful Jesus was. So Judas knew, I will eat their money. They will come to try and catch Jesus. Jesus will do a miracle. They cannot bind him. After him multiplying bread, walking on water, how can you arrest such a person? So I will eat their money. They will come for him.
They won't
get him. I will have the money. Jesus will be free. So when he saw that it was actually going south, that Jesus was arrested and he was being taken for crucifixion, that is when the guilt came upon him, regret, and he went straight to commit suicide.
And he ended up not eating that money.
He never ate the money. So that regret, I should have done better. The other time we are talking about disappointment. And there's somebody who go to school, you expected to get very good grades. And instead of getting an A, grade A, you end up getting a grade E or a D. And out of regret, I should have done better with myself. You are guilty. I maybe have wasted my parents' fees. And somebody says, I will kill myself. In this country, Kenya, there are children who have taken their lives when they failed class 8 exams.
True.
There have been reported cases. Children after Form 4, results came out and they went and took poison. they went and hanged themselves. And maybe because even the parents did not handle the children very well. You are harsh on them. You failed the exams. You have wasted my money. You should have done better. What were you doing in school? And out of guilt and regret, the person goes, takes poison, or even maybe hang themselves and they die. There is one case I could highlight. There is a South African photographer. When there was a war in Sudan, the South African photographer took a very viral photo of a young kid, and the kid was starving to death, and there was a vulture that was just following the child, waiting for the child to die
so that they
can feast on this. So he took the photograph. He took a photograph of the child and went. When they had gone, that's when it hit them. Could we have gone and done something to help that child?
Yeah.
Because for them it was just professional work. You took the photo, then they posted, and it was published all over the world. Then the person was hit by guilt. I took the photo. The photo went viral, but I never helped that child. You know what? That photographer killed himself. So there are people, when you do something, you thought you should have done better, you thought you should have done things differently, and the guilt strikes the person, and the person could easily be very suicidal. This person is not struggling with a broken marriage, not even struggling with a drug problem, not struggling with a failed career. No, it is just guilt, a regret. I should have done this thing differently. And probably somebody looking into our earlier discussions, they will realize, look, we talked on handling failure. You remember?
Yeah.
Sometimes we fail. Sometimes we make mistakes. Human is to error. Sometimes we will just make mistakes. Sometimes it will be you, it will be me who blundered. So pick up your mess, clean it up, you learn from it, and move on. No, use that lesson you have learned. Say, I should have actually done better, but I did not do it. But next time, I will do it better. That's how you handle some of these things. If not, guilt can drive you to an early grave.
And when at 17, he came to me and he said, Dad, it's real obvious I'm not going to be healed. He said, we have gone to the best doctors. I've had the best medicine. Dad, I've gone to the best healers, men of faith, women of faith. I said, Dad, you're a man of faith. Mom is a woman of faith. You've prayed for me, intercessors. I've gone to the best counselors. He said, it's real clear I'm not going to get well.
I want to once again thank Pastor Rick Warren. What you did may seem small, but this is going to reach to touch many lives the world over.